Megan and her wife live in Columbus, Ohio, and they met in 2012. At first, they didn't think they wanted to become parents, but there was a point in time where they realized that that's exactly what they wanted. So they made the decisions that gave them their beautiful son, who is now 6 years old. And in all of that, Megan realized that there is a vital need for community for queer moms, and she couldn't find it. So what did she do? She made it exactly what she needed to do. And now, with over 1,000 members, it is obviously exactly what many queer moms need. Welcome to the Becoming Baby Ready podcast, your podcast for queer family planning. My name is Sam, and throughout this podcast, you'll hear me have conversations with professionals who work alongside people who want to start and grow their families, as well as parents of intentionally created families. Everyone I speak to identifies as being part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. This is your opportunity to learn answers to questions you didn't even know you had. Welcome, everyone, and happy Pride. I'm really excited today to be chatting with Megan. Megan and I have been communicating back and forth about different things over the last, while anyway, at least a year, I want to say, as you have been working on your work projects. Welcome, Megan. Please tell everyone first about who you are and the members of your family. We'll get into the work you do a little bit later because that's super important.
Sure. Yeah. I am Megan Neff. I live in Columbus, Ohio right now. Previously lived in Minneapolis for quite a while. I have a wife who is a local small business chiropractor in the Columbus, Ohio area. And then I have a 6-year-old son who just graduated from kindergarten going into first grade next year.
Oh yeah, your school year I think wraps up earlier than ours does in Canada because we still
Hmm.
have till the end of June and then we go back at Labor Day.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
But yeah, so I've been seeing posts on social media and people saying my kid graduated from kindergarten or high school or whatever, I'm like, already?
Hmm.
What
We
time
didn't go
of
back after Memorial Day. Yeah. So it's a long,
Okay.
long summer break.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's extra time. And at Cairo, I have a special soft spot in my heart for Cairos, but
Hmm.
that's awesome.
It's nice to live with one.
I I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. I want to talk about, first of all, and I'm going to ask you if your wife has a website for her chiro clinic. We'll throw a link to that in the show notes for people who are in the Columbus area who are looking for a good chiro,
Yeah, that'd be
um,
neat.
and a queer one, right? Because
Yes.
sometimes what we're looking for are practitioners and providers who just understand that piece of us that we don't have to explain that part of our life,
Yeah,
and then they can
100%.
just, yeah, so perfect.
That's
I will.
actually how she met the gal she works with. They actually graduated from the same chiropractic school, but 30 or 40 years apart.
Oh,
Randomly met in Columbus, both lesbians, recognized each other as lesbians immediately, and their practices sort of grew from there together. So it's been
I love that.
yeah, it's been a great small community, but like wonderful LGBTQ experience.
I love that. Yeah, we all need more of those kinds of opportunities for sure.
Hmm.
For sure. How did you and your wife meet?
We met, she was actually a bartender at the time, bartender turned chiropractor. That does not often happen.
It does
But I
not.
love the transition. It's been great. She still is a wonderful bartender also.
I was gonna say it makes a
Uh,
great G&T and does an
yeah,
upper cervical
yes.
adjustment. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. Yeah. Um, and I just happened to walk into the bar that she was bartending at, and kind of the rest is asked for her phone number, and the rest is history. So,
excellent. Wow.
yeah.
And how long ago was that?
Let's see, that was in 2012. So we've been married almost 10 years.
Okay.
It'll be 10 years in February.
When on the process to becoming parents did you start talking about parenthood?
Honestly, when we got married, we were both like, no kids, right? Like, no, we
Okay.
just were like, no kids. And then, but over time, as we spent more time together, we moved away together. The year after we were married. So it was kind of like a honeymoon, and she was going to grad school, and I was working from home in a new city. So it was just like a really wonderful experience. And we thought, man, it'd be kind of great if we we added someone to this over time. So that's kind of how we got there. And honestly, as we were approaching it, we had no idea what we were doing. So, and we didn't know anyone in the area who knew what they were doing. So it was sort of something that we had to figure out as we went through it.
And then you also have to figure out how you're going to do it and who's
Right.
going to do what part of the
Hmm.
process.
Yeah.
How did you make those kinds of decisions? I mean, you realize now you've got two uteruses, presumably. So
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
whose are we going to use and how are we going to fertilize and whose eggs will we use and all of the things. Did you just put things on a wall and throw darts and, and whoever got pierced
I
first?
think for us, it was about trying to be just very practical. And since she was in grad school, it didn't make sense for her at the time to go through the whole process because she was already in. I mean, it's like the first year of med school, pretty much. So you're already just like at capacity
Yeah.
with what your brain can handle and what your body can handle. And I kind of really I wanted to go through the process of getting pregnant more than I think she did. Like she was willing but didn't necessarily feel the need to. So we decided on me. I also have way better vision and I'm taller. So
We'll give those checks to
yeah.
that. So you've decided on a body, you've decided on eggs and all of the genetics on the your side,
Hmm.
but now you have to decide on how you're going to fertilize those eggs. And did you have a known donor in mind? Did you automatically say no, no known donors, it has to be anonymous?
We
How
said
did
no known donors for us. Yeah, I think just as far as being comfortable with, having our own sort of family unit, we said we would go anonymous and we did. So we went through the California Cryobank with an anonymous donor.
Now, is it still set up that your child could at 18 learn more if they want, or is this supposed to be like anonymous forever kind of thing?
So we have like a package that he can go through and hear the donor's voice, and like there's some essays that the donor wrote and things like that. But they wanted to stay anonymous, but there is a siblings registry that he can
Okay.
be a part of when he turns 18. We'll give him access to that, and that'll be a whole network of support that he can reach out to, and that'll be interesting when the time comes, I think.
It will be, it is, all of it is so interesting in terms of how far that piece of the process has come. I think about my stepdaughter and th- the organization that my wife used sperm from doesn't have a sibling registry. Now, at the same time, my stepdaughter's not really all that interested, even at 20, in knowing,
Right.
but perhaps because it isn't an option, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah.
who knows? It's very, I find all of it fascinating because, especially with the world that we're living in right now, the it feels sometimes like we're taking so many steps backwards that it's easy to forget how many steps forward we really have taken in the last
Hmm.
couple of decades. There's
Yeah.
a
And
mountain to climb still, but
right. And certainly, I think with even an anonymous donor, I think, with the advancements in medical technology and things, that he could find his donor, in the future through 23andMe or something like that. But
right.
we really make it a point to let him know as he's growing, like this is like a gift that someone gave and they didn't want to, be found or recognized for it. And that's privacy that we're giving them. And, so we're just kind of figuring that out as we go as well.
Absolutely. And that's all you can do. And as
Yeah.
he gets older, he will have some questions and you will find the answers to them
Right.
because his questions will be kind of for the age that he's at,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
He doesn't need a whole science lesson
Yeah.
necessarily at 3.
I know.
But, you know,
Yeah, that's tough for my wife. She wants to give him all the facts right away. And I'm like, he doesn't need all the facts just yet, So
he'll get there.
yeah.
You'll get to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Right. Yeah.
How was the process? Did you like being pregnant? Did you hate being pregnant? Did you?
I absolutely loved it.
Oh, did
My
you?
hair
Good.
was great. Like I had really thin, long blonde hair for a long time, and my hair was just like unbelievable. I mean, I looked like I was at the I lived at the beach. I looked just I was glowing. Like I definitely glowing the whole time. And I didn't really have any any issues with my pregnancy at all. I ate a lot of hot sauce, but other than that, I had a great experience being pregnant itself.
I asked this question as I prepare to do a talk for healthcare professionals and supporting the queer community. As a queer couple 6 years ago, what was the dynamic like for you and your wife as you navigated becoming pregnant and then having to birth a child? Was it a warm, welcoming, friendly process all the way through? Were there places where you felt like, ugh, I really needed to do some education?
I think we took a lot of the traditional routes. We were going to just like a regular we weren't even going to a fertility clinic. We were just going to a regular doctor who was doing IUIs. Um, and it just felt very kind of patchwork together, but I mean, it worked. It
Hmm.
took four IUIs, but then when we were going through it a second time. We had moved and went through an actual fertility clinic, and it was just a wildly different experience. It was way more high touch while you're paying.
Mm.
Whereas I felt with a local doctor actually doing it, it was high touch regardless of what you were paying,
Hmm.
because your insurance was paying most of
Right.
it. So it just felt like a different experience, once you're out the door and you're not doing it anymore, there's no contact, there's no follow up or, anything. So it was a different experience, and we had second child infertility issues, what's that
Okay.
called?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we weren't unable, we tried for a long time to have a second with the fertility experience, the fertility clinic experience, and it just didn't work out for us, which is fine. But the first time around was definitely a lot more organic. And even though we had to figure it out along the way and sort of piecemeal it together instead of it being like this well-oiled machine, everyone was a lot more invested in us having a baby than just, what we were experiencing at the fertility clinic.
It sometimes feels maybe like the fertility clinics work from a perspective of statistics versus people.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
And I I think that this is something that I've tried to educate healthcare practitioners about for the 30 years I've been working in this field. Just because you've done it 1,000 times or 10,000 times doesn't mean that you shouldn't be trying to remember that the person sitting on the table in front of you or the chair in front of you or in the operating room with you like this is their first time or their 10th time, but it's still not
Right.
their 100th time. It's still new to
Hmm.
them. And
Yeah.
so it's important to kind of keep the humanity in it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry for your secondary infertility. That is
There it is.
frustrating.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a,
So
a long way around to that. Yeah, sorry about
it's
that.
no, no, please don't apologize. Listen, there's enough other stuff that you've had to keep in your head. That kind of jargon, it's unnecessary. You just put it out to pasture back there.
Sure.
That's an emotional piece to navigate as well. And so you moved. Now, did you move to Ohio from Minnesota between kids?
Yes. So we had our first, well, we didn't have a second child, but we had our son.
Yes. Sorry, attempt. Sorry,
Yeah.
I need to be
No,
more
you're okay.
sensitive to that.
We had our son in Minneapolis, and then when he was around 1, we moved back to Ohio,
Okay.
where we have family and a support system.
Excellent. Just for curiosity's sake, because I know what schools are where, is Minneapolis where your wife did her Cairo school?
Yes, she
Okay.
was at Northwestern Health Sciences.
It's a good school and
Yeah.
they do great education. Good Kairos come out of there. So
Mhm.
just curious again for listeners who are looking for a
Yeah.
Cairo.
We loved Minneapolis. I would move back to Minneapolis in a heartbeat if I could take, my sister and her kids with us and the family we have here. So it's tough, but I think eventually we'll end up back there.
Climate is fairly similar. So it's not like you're having to adjust. It's not moving from Los Angeles to New York kind of thing.
Hmm.
So
It's a lot more liberal there, than it is even in Columbus, I think. And, but there's a lot of, you know, issues in the city there as well. So, but it's just such a great, I don't know, it's such just there's so many great restaurants there. There's so much great culture there, and you wouldn't think that for a place that's that far north. but they're also really good at handling snow, where I feel like in Ohio, we just can't get our shit together, you know? I'm like, you guys, it's been snowing here for a long time and we still can't figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
And it's more humid. So the snow is heavier, I think.
yes,
It
uh-huh.
because you're not that far from me really in the grand scheme of things, but I feel like Minneapolis is drier. I
Hmm.
just said to my son last night, I hate when people call it a dry cold or a humid cold, but there is a difference. And if
Yeah.
you have to move that snow, you want it to be more dry, if that makes sense. Hold on for just a moment. We'll be right back. I don't know about you, but I love being able to support queer business wherever possible. Here are 10 of the businesses I've connected with over the last couple of years. The first is Conscious Leadership Academy, and you can find them at lauriesolpizio.com, littlebondco.com, birthmarksupport.com, everydonation.com, fertilitylawcanada.com, understorycafe.com, heygaddies.com, gwkacademy.org, informedfertility.ca, and knifeyspoony.com. To learn more and visit these websites, check out the bottom of the show notes over all of the episodes in the coming weeks. You move and you set up in Ohio and you've got yourself sorted there because you've got family and friends. And you then decide you're going to undertake a whole new experience. Tell everybody about your app and what you're working on now and why. What was the foundational reason behind why you spent the time putting this together?
Yeah. So, like I said, my in 2019 we decided to have a child. And then so when he was born, it was February of 2020. And we had, we took all the baby classes and then I had the classes set up for, me to go with him to meet the other moms and, the mom groups and, I
Yeah.
was establishing community in the area. And then, everything shut down quickly after that. It was like 3 weeks after he was born, everything just shut down.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a follow-up doctor's appointment after I had him. There was no follow-up because they
Oh,
had just canceled all appointments. So I went through a period of kind of like I really struggled with postpartum depression and anxiety. I was also working full time, even though I was on maternity leave, because I was starting a business. Not this specific business, a different one,
okay.
um, which was in the global nonprofit space. And that also kind of shifted after the administration shifted a few years ago. So funding for that sort of fell through.
Hmm.
So I was really struggling to find just community. And I also felt like as a mom, when you become a mom, there's seasons in it where I feel like you lose your queerness, right? Like it just sort of takes a back burner. And I've talked to so many moms that come into Gay Moms Club and are like, I can't, where's my gay? Like, I don't know where it is anymore. I don't know how to identify with it. I don't have time to identify with it.
Yeah.
So I decided to kind of hop on initially to, platforms like Facebook or other apps that offer support for moms. And certainly most of them have an LGBTQ moms group, but it was kind of buried, under all of the other groups. And then you get in there and it's sort of, people asking the same questions, what do your kids call you? School forms, things like that. And I was just, I felt like I was still missing the community piece, even though it was called community. I wasn't making friends, right? I was just
Mhm.
answering questions. So I think with Gay Moms Club, I had the skill set to build it because I'm a learning architect by trade. So I decided to sort of start with the build and then figure out over time what queer moms were looking for or women who wanted to become moms were looking for in this space. And so it's sort of shifted over the years, but at the core of it, I think what I've found is that I just want a space where, it's for all of you, right? It's for all of the queer parts of you, not just motherhood.
From what it was when you first started and you first put this together in your mind, how has it blossomed?
So I think originally I actually had hired a team of writers at the beginning to write and research, a lot of things for women who wanted to become moms or for queer women who were already moms. And then that sort of shifted into becoming way more of a community space. So matchmaking on the back end or friendship matchmaking on the back end for moms. A lot of times in bigger spaces, people are afraid to talk. There's too many people, right? They don't know what to
Right.
say. But if you can just match two people on the back end, which is a lot of what our community is, they're talking all day long, And there's, especially if you match moms in similar seasons or, who are in similar locations or things like that, you'll see moms popping on in the middle of the night, when they're breastfeeding. And someone else that they know is in a similar, boat, they're chit-chatting. So it's just been a really great experience to see kind of how the community is guiding us in what they need. So it's ever evolving, and I'm having a really great time sort of bringing it to fruition on the back end, but really leaning on our members to tell me what they're looking for, what they want to talk about, and things like that. So,
The friendship matching is a really cool aspect of your app that I don't see anywhere else. That
hmm
I mean, you can if you're part of any other group or any other app, you can often see the people that comment frequently or whose comments or questions are ones that you relate to. So you could reach out to them privately, but it's always so hard to take that first step
yeah.
of being vulnerable and reaching out to someone. And so I love that you just sort of take two people and go, okay, you're matched and
hmm
chat. And I mean, the first one you did for me, match you did for me was with someone that I already knew,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that was neat because it was amazing to see them in your space because I knew them
Right.
from a different space. So this just gave us a different layer and level to speak about, which was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a beautiful platform. And you write blogs regularly. Are they all yours or do other people
Yes.
contribute?
They're just me right now. So I kind of like had a career crisis when, all of these things were in the air. And I used to love like writing when I was younger. I wrote for like the school newspaper in high school. And then when I went to college, I thought, oh, I'm going to be a creative writing major. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. So,
Fair.
so it's been nice to sort of dive back into like hobbies like that within the platform.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just, I mean, I'm a part of other communities that help you build community also, which is really just like a great space to be a part of when we're trying to build these really organic, community member funded platforms. There's so many platforms out there now that are just full of ads and you don't know who's real because people aren't vetted. And, this is very much something that's organic, something where everyone that comes in I chat with, I talk to, I
Hmm.
figure out if they're a real person, what they're looking for, who they're hoping to connect with. And we have free spaces inside the app. So when you sign up for the app, you get our free member spaces where we have like fun polls for millennial queer moms. Would you rather shop at so and so based on, things like that. And and then we have a full yearbook for moms. So you can see every member inside the club. And then, once you're kind of ready to take the next step, we have you, sign up for a membership. And then that's when we really get to the matchmaking,
Hmm.
part on the back end. So, yeah.
This has been an evolution for you, and I don't even remember how we connected when we first connected, but I mean, it was when things were still very new for you, and you were kind of
hmm
giving some of us out there the opportunity to kind of look and see what you were doing and what you were building. And it's just been so fascinating to watch it grow and blossom into what it is becoming and is constantly growing and becoming.
hmm
And it is something that at first I wasn't sure that I was necessarily right for.
hmm
And I mean, you were very reassuring at the time. I think I said to you, like, I'm a woman in my 50s. My kids are adults and grown and gone. And this is Gay Moms Club. And I'm seeing a lot of like
hmm
hopeful and new moms on the platform. Am I really supposed to be here? But you reassured me that I was, and it
Hmm.
is an appropriate platform for parents, moms of any stage of their parenting journey. It's just a space to be able to be queer.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I loved that because you're right, that piece of us often gets kind of pushed to the side. And sure, the work that I do is all in the queer space, and so it's queer all day, every day for me. But that that's just professionally. Like
It's not the
personally,
same, right?
it's not the same. Yeah.
I mean, I still struggle because I'm, running this whole app on the back end. It's just me, and I'm also doing all of our social content and our blogs and things like that. So while I set this up and I say, I set this up to make mom friends too, I struggle to make friends in the app because I'm just so busy and it is work and it is,
Yeah.
everyone in here is a gay mom or wants to be a mom, and is queer. And so there's just, and we have almost 1,000 members now. So it's such a great space to meet moms, and I know so many of them, but it's hard for me to really dig in,
Yeah.
because I am in it every day, all day.
I mean, I don't know if it's the same kind of thing, but I mean, it's a very, please, I'm taking a liberty here when I use this as an example, but I think about being an educator, and I was educating in a local hospital system, and I was seeing hundreds of couples a year, more than hundreds of couples a year. And my second child was born, and I was processing postpartum depression. And I went to my family doctor, and my family doctor said, "Oh, there's a fantastic group out of this hospital for
Hmm.
postpartum depression. And you go and you take the baby, and it's a support network." And I didn't think that if I walked in there and saw someone from one of my classes, that I would be able to turn off the educator piece and just be the mom. And so, as I say, I'm taking broad liberties here, but there's also this piece that when you're the professional sort of that's put everything together and given everybody the opportunity to have what they've expressed to you that they need,
Hmm.
and then you come in with your own personal vulnerabilities of being a gay mom and just wanting to be part of the community, it's hard to shut off that professional side and just
Hmm.
be the vulnerable side, because how does that look? How will that be received? And how will you feel about your journey there? Does that,
Yeah.
have I
Yeah,
completely
for sure. I
separated
mean,
the two?
I worked in a corporate setting for 13 years, in corporate retail, and that's kind of the opposite, right? Like you have to turn off the queer part of you, right? And
Yeah,
like, certainly they have internal groups that you can be a part of and things like that. But for the most part, you're turning it off and you're turning on the corporate lingo and you're turning, so when I started, my own thing, my own platform, I really struggled with not sounding like a corporate person. And even I haven't wanted to do podcasts and things like that because I sometimes will slip right back into it where
yeah.
you're like speaking the language and you're trying to be more PC. And I'm like, this isn't how I talk in my real life, Like, why am I speaking like this? So, so yeah, it's a balance. It's hard to know when to turn. And I'm honestly trying to marry the two. I don't want to turn off the queer part of me, and I don't want to turn off the entrepreneurial side of me either. I just want to marry them, and I want people to like that person. So I don't
Yeah,
know, I want,
yeah. Because
for lack of a
that's
better
how
way to put it.
friendships really are,
Yeah.
like
No,
true friendships.
authenticity. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's at the root of everything, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Or at least at the root of everything sustainable,
Sure. Yeah.
because we can
Yeah.
put on
And
the
this,
facade, but
yeah. Yeah, and I've had a lot of people, I think, over the years, Gay Moms Club has sort of been, I think it's like we're 3 years in now. I'm 3 years in now. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to go away. This will go away. This isn't going to last. It's not going to go away. And it's like, this is going to be here. This is staying. Like, this is my priority. And, there's a lot of moms and members who are in the group now who it is also their priority. Like they
right,
love being in here every day in this space and being able to be queer and be a mom and be themselves every morning and then go about their day.
right.
So it's at least a touch point for them when they don't know anyone in their regular lives maybe who are also queer.
And So you started off with that you hired writers and people to do some research for you. So you made sure that the app was what you intended it to be, more than just your own personal vision. You wanted it to be broad enough to appeal to lots of people. So you had these people brought on board. Are those same people still with you, or is it just you? Or are you like literally a one person show?
Yes, one person show. So I this at the beginning I hired them and they were mostly like blog content writers or
Okay.
research-based writers. Great group of girls that I worked with. And I think over time I was just kind of like I think the vision's changing. I don't know that the blog is necessarily where I want to be right now or I guess in research-based writing because it changes so frequently and it was just hard to keep up with as a solopreneur.
Hmm.
So I've dabbled in trying to like hire people to do the social part of it, or to help me out with, community management. And I just find that I like to do it all myself.
Yeah.
I really like to be in it every day. I like to live it. I like to breathe it. I like to see, I love creating graphics, so that's a big part of what I'm doing every day in there. Just really great. I don't know, great content for moms that really resonates in a millennial sort of way a lot of the time. So just kind of throwing it back to what we all used to love about the 90s and being queer then, but also bringing it into modern times. And
Hmm.
it's what we're doing is kind of, for the most part, uncharted. So we can kind of make it whatever we want to make it. But I definitely just think there's a gap in, when you do have kids as a queer person, you're a lot of times your chosen family that you created when you were younger, if you had the opportunity to do that or live somewhere where you were able to do that, it kind of dissipates when you decide to have kids. Because a lot of them, don't decide to have kids. So it's not like you're losing friends necessarily for any reason other than, your time and energy shifts and you become a part of other communities because as your kid grows, you're in
Sure.
social or sporting event communities, just all kinds of local
Yeah.
stuff, things like that. So the queer community often gets placed last. And I think if we can bring that back for ourselves, we're going to be better moms, 100%, because this is the toughest season of, our lives being moms. So why wouldn't we need the most support right now from the queer community?
I love that. It is Pride Month, and so that's, as I said at the beginning, I wanted to bring you onto the show to talk about this app during Pride Month because this is a time of year where even those of us who are late to come out or who are quiet about who we are and don't celebrate our queerness, this is the time of year that we allow ourselves to
Hmm.
get out there and have a flag and be proud and it's also a time when we are reminded to look for people who have a similar story. And so, if ever there was a time that people might be looking for community, it's now because it's reminding we're being reminded more frequently about it right now.
Yeah.
How do people find Gay Moms Club?
You can go to gaymomsclub.com to sign up. You can also download the app through the Apple Store or Google Play.
Okay. And there is a free section for it, you said. So people
Correct.
can go and check it out and get a sort of a feel for it. They don't have
Hmm.
to automatically. There's so many apps you go to, and the minute you go and they say that they're free and they have free pieces, but before you can actually see the free pieces, you have to put your credit card information in so
Right.
that
And yeah, I've gone back and forth and I just the more I I try and fiddle with it, I just want people to see it, That's what I want. I want people to have a place, there's pride events are great, community during June is great, but like what happens on Monday morning? Where's your community then? And I want to be that place for gay moms. So yeah, we have free spaces throughout. The membership comes into play when you want to actually privately message other members
yeah.
or sign up for our events or matchmaking. So really just that community piece so that I'm able to really put an eye on you and match you with the people that you're gonna, hopefully make great friendships with and speak to on a daily basis or a monthly basis or have support when you need it.
And just to be clear for listeners, it isn't a vetting process. You're not picking and choosing who can be, but you want to make sure that the person who you are matching with someone else is actually a human. They're not a bot.
Yes.
They're not some 70-year-old man sitting at home who's thinking it's fun to play this game. It's not a game. You're intentionally matching people with similar people.
Yes. Yeah. And we have a form that we have moms fill out before they're able to come in, and they have an application pending section. And then I make sure that kind of all of their details that they've plugged in or social media links that they've plugged in, I usually friend them on social media so that, and most of them you have to request to friend. So we don't, I mean, certainly we have influencers inside the club that are here to chat with each other. But, for the most part, it's just people who have private profiles that don't really want to be out there, don't want to be seen, maybe are still, you know, married to men. You just everyone wants privacy, and
Yeah.
that's kind of a way for us to make sure that that's the number one priority.
I love that. I am going to make sure that the show notes contain links to find you on social media, to find your website, to find your wife's website for Cairo, and I I'm just so grateful that I mean I shouldn't say it because it sounds bad. I'm grateful that you felt this need to create this space because it was something that you were missing. I'm sad that you were missing that piece, but I'm
Sure.
grateful that you had the ability then to take it to the next level and to create the beautiful space that you've created.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really enjoying running it. I'm really enjoying talking to moms every day, every morning, every evening. So it's been a really fun kind of career shift for me and also passion project that I've been able to sort of make my full-time gig now, which is really great. You want to be doing the stuff you love, right? You want to love your job. So I love it.
I love that. That's a beautiful way. And and just because it's how I wrap up every conversation I have with queer parents, tell me, what is your absolute favorite part of parenting your son?
Favorite part. Honestly, he is a mini me. So my favorite part is just seeing, seeing the way he behaves and knowing it's exactly how I behaved, even in the ways I don't want it to be. My mom will be like, "Oh my goodness, that's you," or like, "I can tell," it's exactly the same. So it's almost like being able to watch myself grow up, from my mom's perspective or something. So it's a blessing and a curse, I'd say.
The things you love about yourself, the things you don't
Yes.
love about yourself, right?
They're just, yeah, they're the same as my mom always told me. So it's great to have a mini me, to watch him grow. I love watching just his brain work. I don't love that he takes everything apart in our house, but I do love that he is, curious and wants to learn because
Yeah.
my wife and I are lifelong learners, and we want him to be the same. So anytime he says he's bored, I'm like, figure it out, man. You got to learn something new.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you need help, ask. I'll
Yes,
be here.
100%. Yeah.
But you got to try it on your own.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride to you as well.
Thank you. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I know
Yeah.
that life is busy for you, and I appreciate the time that you set aside to chat and tell everyone about yourself and about Gay Moms Club. Thank you.
Yeah. This is my first podcast, so I'll be a little more comfortable from now on, I think.
There you go. See, it's painless.
You're a great host. Yes, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the stolen land I live and work on, because where we are matters. I live in Burlington, Ontario, Canada, and I carry colonial lineage. That's something I hold with both awareness and responsibility. The land stretching from Lake Ontario to the Niagara Escarpment and beyond has a history that runs so much deeper than the city I live in. It's Indigenous land, rich with story, relationship, and meaning, and my community benefits from that legacy every single day. This territory is held under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, a powerful agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy, the Ojibwe, and allied nations to share and care for the resources of the Great Lakes region together, peacefully. I also want to specifically recognize that I'm on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. As a queer person, I find myself coming back to the land as a teacher, and one of the most profound things it teaches us is fluidity. The gender binary and heteropatriarchy didn't emerge from this land. They were brought here by colonizers, the same people who tore Indigenous children from their families, their homes, and everything they knew. Those children were then sorted into one of only two rigidly prescribed categories and forced to perform a version of gender that was never theirs to begin with. That violence was deliberate, and its echoes are still very much with us. But the land has never operated in binaries. It is diverse, layered, beautifully complex, and sometimes wonderfully unpredictable. It holds all of us, every path, every identity, every way of moving through the world. Every organism, every spirit has a purpose. That's something I try to carry with me as I move through my own life and growth. Thank you for joining me today on the Becoming Baby Ready podcast. If you have a story that you'd like to share, or you know someone who might, if you're a professional who works in the capacity of helping people start and grow their families, and you identify as being a part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community yourself, then please don't hesitate to reach out. We always have room for more stories to share, and there's always more learning to do.